Okay, mic is on again. Think something went wrong last time. Nobody told me. All right. I think I pressed the mute button on the mic, and then I thought it because I said at some point I said okay muting, and then I pressed the button again and said unmuted, and I don't know if that actually happened. I know I pressed the button, but sometimes um, what do you call that when pressing the button? Debouncing. Sometimes the debouncing isn't perfect. Ugh. Also, I just added some Vallisneria to one of my tanks, which is almost, it looks like a mixture between a really thick grass and a really thin seaweed. And in fact, I it seems like seaweed is probably a generic term. Is Vallisneria a seaweed? Let's just find that out real quick while we're booting up here. Is Vallisneria a seaweed? It's not in the sea, it's in freshwater. Vallisneria. Vallisneria seaweed? Hey, Vallisneria is a seaweed! Woo! All right, cool. Yeah, it like at first I wasn't really impressed with it, but now seeing it in the tank, I am kind of impressed with it. But you need a taller tank. A little 10-gallon just won't really do Vallisneria justice. Maybe if it were 10-gallon tall. Okay, let's see. Is everything online? All right, I think everything's online. And I think we're ready to seize the day. All right, here we go. Boom. Oh, let me go ahead and take that off too. Um, let's see. And I got a trusty rusty TDS meter. It measures electrical conductivity as a proxy for total dissolved salts. I think that's what it stands for. Anyway, this is our Envoy config file, which scares the bejeebies out of me. Maybe it shouldn't. Okay. Access log, typed config. Is Envoy a Google thing? Or does Google have some APIs? I guess, wait. Type.googleapis.com, Envoy extension filters. Maybe, I actually want to find out what this is real quick. Maybe it's a public thing where anybody can post to it. No, it doesn't look like it. All right, let's try this whole thing. Very much looks like a URL. Envoy type Google APIs. I mean, it could just mean nothing. Oh well. All right, and then HTTP filters. Rate limit. Okay. Route config. Oh, here we go. Virtual hosts. Name DAPI services. That doesn't make sense. Domains anything. Route match org-platform blah 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 blah. Okay. GPRC timeout header max. Okay. So I'm thinking that we could probably, all right, I think the better way to do this is to just put Caddy in front of this and then have Caddy reverse proxy to it. But I don't know if Caddy will be able to reverse proxy. Okay. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to do here. All right, let's do ZeroSSL API. This was so bad. I will say, I am supremely upset that they decided to not support the decentralized name system and instead went with the most centralized addressing scheme that we have that affords you no flexibility. That is, you kind of have to do extra work to make it so that it won't work with the decentralized name system, so that it will only work with the IP system, and that is very frustrating. Because now we have this problem where there's only one supplier of these certificates, and I was told yesterday that the only way that you can get these certificates is with a paid API key. So again, I mean, this is, well, I mean, I guess what I'm just saying is I call BS, right? You can say, oh, decentralization is so important. Yeah, I have to call BS because there's only one provider. It's the least flexible addressing scheme that we know of on the planet. And well, other than maybe MAC address. No, because MAC address you can just make up MAC addresses. So you actually have MAC addresses are more or less freeform. But the IP system is not freeform. You have to go through a single provider. If you change providers, you have to get a different IP address. You cannot take it with you. And if you need to get a different IP address, you have to switch provider. Well, you could buy an additional IP. Anyway. Okay, so REST API. Can we do this? I think the thing is, we got to figure out, can we do this with IP certificates? Zero SSL API IP certificates. And then we got to figure out what happened with Caddy. Zero. Okay, so what we might be able to do, and I need to go back and check the Caddy. Was it here? Was it? Yeah, it's so frustrating. There was a feature that was supposed to make it into Caddy, and I don't know if it did or if it didn't, and that's what we need to look into. But what we could do is we could have the certificates potentially automated if we pay. Well, I need to find out if it's true that you have to pay to use the API for ZeroSSL. It would kind of make sense. Let's see what they say here. Free account can't renew. All right. And that, I mean, that kind of makes sense because it's a really weird use case. It's antithetical to the web. Okay. All right. Well, let me just see how do we get a ZeroSSL paid account? Because I'll pay for a ZeroSSL account if that means that I can have documentation and a process to set this thing up. Access key, certificate domains. Either 365 or 90. Okay. Hmm. I'm a little confused about that. Is there? I didn't see mention of it. Let's go back to the dash documentation. Hmm. Yeah, there's no mention of additional tools here. All right. This part is frustrating. Okay, so we'll just go through this process. I guess for now, maybe we just go through the process as documented, despite the obvious problems. Okay, let's look at their pricing though. What is their pricing? $10 a month? What are they out of their flipping minds? $10 a month? No, I'm not going to pay that. I mean, an SSL certificate to buy. Okay, literally, I could just buy an SSL certificate for the next 10 years for that price. 3 90-day certificates. This was so dumb. Okay. All right. So where's the dev? You know, where's the dev talk? Where's Evo? Dev talk. So what's the plan for TLS for Evo nodes now that the one single central authority that would provide free IP certs is now charging 10x the cost of a single cert for a year of What's the C? It's probably different. All right. I'm miffed about this because I brought this up. I said, "Hey, this is a fatal flaw." You know, I I'm sorry, but I just have a heck of a lot more experience than almost any developer you'll ever meet. You can meet somebody who's been programming for 10 years longer than I have, and 9 times out of 10, they're not going to have as much experience as I do. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating because I'm obsessive. I obsess about things. I learn very deeply, and like, and I am obsessed with the internet. And like, I know the protocols, and no, I'm not a good communicator. That's my flaw, is telling people, hey, this is a bad idea, and then trying to articulate why this is a bad idea. Please don't do this. Bah. Let's see. All right. Okay. Um, okay, so two things. It's just frustrating. It's frustrating because there's a lot of problems I can see from a mile away. And I'm not always right. Sometimes I'm dead wrong. But I am right more often than not. And this was I just was 2 years ago. I raised this up, and I've raised it up multiple times. I don't know if I'm raising it up to the right people, but anyway. So, this is essentially what needs to be done. Is there needs to be a DNS lookup. So it just needs to be tested, so that when it does the IP connect, and actually it should, I think that you don't even have to do the lookup necessarily. C++ connect via HTTP. Yeah, because you're just doing an HTTP connection. So you just change the way you're doing the function call. There, and no, because they do something to make sure that domain names won't work. I remember seeing the code. I actually could be wrong about that, but I thought I looked at the code. Yeah, I did look at the code, because I was miffed, because not only was it just happenstantially there's one thing that wasn't working. There were things in place to make sure that it couldn't work. And that's where I was really miffed, because it's like, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, all right, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to exhale that frustration. And we're going to get back to the so we're not going to use the REST API. We're just going to do the IP. So, you know what? Why do we even need to do that? It doesn't, like, at this point, it doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter. We're just going to use Caddy because this process just won't work. It literally won't work for Evo nodes at this point. There is not a path forward with this. The using the domain names is the thing that must be done at this point because there is no other provider that does this stuff. Second. All right. I don't know if I have credentials to this. Let me go. It's my password manager is not popping up with anything. Hold on. Okay. Nope. Oh yeah. Okay. I do have an account. All right. So I'm logging in. I'm logging into my account over here. So I'll actually figure out what my stuff needs to be for that. Okay. All right. Log out. Go back over here. Should probably update my email address there. Let's see. You can manage passwords. Man, it's just so frustrating. It's because it's like this was foreseeable. This was not something that caught us off guard. This was 100% foreseeable. You know, there's an accident like, oh, I didn't see the car coming. And then there's, oh, I thought that the car would stop if I walked in front of it. See how those are different? Okay, I'm unmuted again. I mean, yeah. The mic is live. Bop, bop, bop. Yeah, okay, good. Making sure. Or maybe I just create a different, whatever. Sure, we can save that. All right. Create a certificate. Oh wait, no. Do I need to do that? Whatever. Sorry, I got mixed up. I got mixed up because I was frustrated, and then somebody messaged me about something that I needed to respond to. Okay, let's focus. Focus. All right, so there's a few things going on here. One of them, there's the WinEvo. Here's the T dash. Let's see what test dash parameters are. All right, sudo journal ctl zfoo. Oh no. All right. Okay. All right. I need to get this thing configured properly so that other things can connect to it. All right, so that's got to process new blocks because that's probably been stale for a month or whatever it's been. So we can let that process new blocks. And then I need to go look and see dash G dash platform. Okay. There's probably some stuff I need to close out over here. So I'm going to go look and see. I'm hoping that I can find. I had the whole network set up and everything a few months ago with a few different full test nodes and stuff, and I just got to find where that all went. Maybe. All right, T-D-D1. I think I was using, for that I was using the real one. I wasn't using the test dash. I've got hello dash, dash site, dash checkout, dash. Okay, all of these we're going to use. The other ones, we got the dash wallet. I don't think that was anything. We got Evo 3, Evo 2. Evo 2 is debunked, or not debunked, but there's nothing interesting going on with Evo 2 at this point. That one was an Alpine system, so I couldn't actually use it. Interdomain. Oh, and I can't do that anyway. Right. Let's see if I can attach one of the spare IP addresses onto this. I need to contact them. If we're gonna do Evo nodes, I need to buy more IP addresses. This is the other huge problem. IP addresses are a scarce resource, right? They're centrally controlled. And they're centrally controlled in a very unfortunate way because they're not federated, but they're in different fiefdoms, if you will. So they're non-transportable, but they're owned by different entities that have a single registration entity. So, for example, domain names, you can buy a domain name from thousands of different companies, and you can transfer it from one company to another company. So if there's some sort of censorship issue or whatever, you can just change the political zone in which your domain is owned. You have an anyway. So but because the IP system is so fixed, there's 8 billion people that each have 10 devices, right? So you do the math on that one, or I can't. 80 billion. Is 80 billion more or less than 4 billion? So we've got that problem there. So when you use the name system, there's an infinite number of names. And so, and you can proxy things around without having to worry about a specific hard IP address. So anyway, yeah, I think I might need to, let me see if I can borrow an IP address from something. Let's see. Let me go. Let's see. Where would I do this? I also don't know which layer. So you don't have to run, quote unquote, Evo. You don't have to run it on a single system. But I believe that the dash core component has to run on a particular IP address that's exclusive, because I don't think it also doesn't make use of the port system. The port system is what makes the IP system tolerable, is that as per specification, you can use lots of different ports, but the way a lot of people implement things, they don't use dynamic ports. And so then again, if you can use dynamic ports, and let me go check the ProReg TX message real quick. I'm pretty sure it does not allow for dynamic ports. Or even statically defined ports. Transaction ID, ProReg TX. Can we decode this? Decode ProReg TX. Okay, we'll try that. Maybe it actually looks like something once we do that. All right, do we have? I don't see an IP address in here. So I don't think that it's put in text. I think it is put in bytes. Operator adder. Oh, bless me. Oh, IP and port. Okay, good. Maybe. I think last time Okay, so if it does allow defined ports, then we can get around this that way. Let's see. What is this? Master ProReg TX, IP import. Yes. IP and port. IP. My question is, does it have to be port 1002? Is that arbitrary? Is that user selected? Because if that's user selected, then we've got something we can work with here. I don't remember. I thought before that you actually had to choose that, you had to put it there. Let's see. Let's see if there says anything else about port. Oh, and port if using testnet. Okay, so it looks like you can only specify the port on testnet. That seems to track. Let me ask about that. Let me ask about that. Um, I wish lots of things. I wish lots of things. All right, dash CLI. Can I show addresses? How do I show addresses? I forget. There we go. List accounts. Let's try this. Although we still have this problem. Incorrect password. I think I know kind of what's going on here. Ah, yes. All right, so that's getting close. Wait, this one is running. WinEvo is also running that. All right, so this is confusing me then. So we do have the test network on WinEvo. Okay, test. Okay. So why is it telling me wrong password then? All right, that's what I thought. So dash core here, dash.conf, it has a test section. So app test, RPC password, blah, blah, blah. It's saying what it's binding to. And let's see, are we doubling up the bindings? Nope, because that one's got one in front of it. Okay, so this is right. Just gonna systemd, just check this out, make sure. Dash door, dash core, testnet, use HD, conf, settings, wallet dir, data dir, blocks dir. All right. thread RPC server. How about this? Sudo serviceman list. Okay. That's not right. Huh. I got a little bug there I need to fix. Dang it. Okay, dash drive dash D testnet. All right, let's stop that service. So what I need to do is I need to get something that's running testnet connected to the thing that's running everything else, or transferred over. But I think I should just be able to get connected. And then this, the one that's running dash core would be the one that I need to have the public IP address on. So I think I can configure that. Well, and at the very least, I don't think that there's anything else that's publicly using that port. So I can open up the ports for the specific things that it needs for testnet stuff. Okay. But I'm just confused. How could it say wrong password to connect to itself? That doesn't make no sense. All right, so let's take a look at this one too. All right, so they're both running the right version. Okay, so now block is marked invalid. Are we getting invalid blocks over here? Accepted. What would this mean? Thread RPC server incorrect password. Attempt from 5. Oh, that's the dash drive thing. Duh. I even saw that in dash drive service. Okay, there we go. That's interesting that it doesn't default to whatever's in dash conf, but it's all good. It's all good. All right, and this is all right because let's see. What IP address does this have? IPA. This has address. So for private networking, we would use this address. So that means over here, not over here, over here, where I also have sudo env path equals half. What's everybody, by the way? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, DAPI API service. Okay, so again, API test and dash core RPC host is going to be that IP address, and then password is going to be that password. Okay. So let's take that one over here. RPC host. ZMQ host. Do we need to do ZMQ? Do we need ZMQ? I'm assuming that ZMQ is going to be the same. RC bind allow IP. Oh, I need to allow this. No. This is dash the cryptocurrency. This is not the Debian Almquist shell. But I have learned quite a bit about the POSIX shell command language, which is basically what Debian Almquist shell is. It has a couple of extras, like it allows local variables in a different way. It allows local variables without creating a subshell. But if you've got any questions about the Debian Almquist shell, feel free to ask, because I can answer quite a few of them on the basis that I actually know the POSIX shell command language upon which it is based. Right. Bind. I actually want to change this. I think I need to change this to do the RPC bind. Let's see, do we need the RPC bind? Probably a bunch of these need to change. Can I put that? No, I can't. Hold on. IPA. I did all this stuff before. We really need to automate it. Oh, and that does need to be a /24. Doi. Okay, we have multiple binds, but we can't have multiple RPC binds. RPC bind is only one. RPC allow, and that should be a /24, I believe. Can it be /16? Actually, no, it can be a /16. That is still correct. Oh, you asked because this looks a lot like shell stuff. Well, I am using command line tools, yes. but I am not actually doing much of anything that is shell related. So there's a whole thing here. It's like, for example, there's your TV, and then there's the TV show, right? So the TV is the box, and the TV show is the information. There's also the TV screen. The TV screen is the thing that shows the information. So the shell is the interactive part that exists inside of the terminal. So the shell is what you interact with to do other things. But unless you're scripting, you don't really do much with the shell. You do work in the terminal, and the shell facilitates that by opening up child processes and providing standard in, standard out, and that sort of thing. So, oh, okay. All right. All right, so there we are. So I should be able to restart this. I'm probably going to have to change the config here, because you'd think, oh, it's just going to be able to connect on localhost, but no. It doesn't work the way that you would think necessarily. Also, what do I got to do? I got to change from 29998 to 1999. I don't know how to say that many nines correctly. And we are using environment variables here. Okay. Oh, this one would be, was it 29? No, I don't know what the two. Is that for reg test? I have no idea why the default config for this would have the oh wait, this was core ZMQ host. Sorry, wait, what was ZMQ? RPC. There's RPC and then there's ZMQ, but ZMQ host is 180. Now I'm uber confused. I am uber confused, because ZMQ port would be this, not this. So I'm just going to comment that out. That's correct. And this one, I think we still can run. No, RPC host we have to run on this, right? I got to change all the IP addresses because it doesn't bind to both. ZMQ stays. ZMQ stays 127.0.0.1, maybe. Nope, I swapped the wrong one. RPC has to be the other one. Maybe. Okay, let's go ahead and just swap everything over to bind not to localhost, but to the IP address that is on the private network. That's what we'll do. Swap everything to bind that way, and then we don't got to worry about it no more. I'll read what I'm writing in just a second. Okay. So this is what I was saying. So, in response to my gripe about the artificial limitation imposed by specifically only allow. Oh, also respect the port even on mainnet. There's no reason to force a specific port. That's 90s think. And I won't talk about SRV records because that is more than the average person is going to be able to understand. And not all domain registrars support that. Anyway, so it's not too late to fix. Just a few function calls need to be changed in core and a trivial update to the ProRegTX message format. What do you propose as a solution? Just call the normal resolve function for anything that needs to handle a network connection. Let's see, resolve or connect function for anything that needs to handle a network connection and allow the decentralized name system alongside IP and ProRegTX. And if you want to be extra decentralized and extra redundant, then if a single IP fails for one of the low-level network calls, use the next in the list. And the resolved list. There we go. However, normally the resolver will do this for you automatically depending on the language and tools used. But if you just want the first one or fail, i.e. the resolver connection handler fails, as a fast fix, then no one is worse off. They can still have multiple IPs. They can still switch IPs. It's still likely that if one has failed, the next request will give the one that works, or the next, not the next request, the next resolve. They can still switch IPs. They can still resolve POSIBAN in the normal fashion, and they have the options, and they have options in case of censorship. Also, respect the port even on mainnet. There's no reason to force a specific port. That's 90s think. IPs and ports are limited, finite resources. Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to put that part. Okay, that's good. Okay, let me check over here. ZMQP is the lib for the AMQP protocol. AMQP from RabbitMQ, or is it the lib for it is in a 0.0.1 wasn't updated to 20. The message queues were a fad for a while. No, and that's not to say that there isn't a good use case for message queues, but kind of like NoSQL was a fad, and everybody and their dog had a NoSQL startup, and every new company was using NoSQL so they could get all of the advantages of not knowing what the data in their database looked like, not being able to iterate it through it quickly, not having the capability to have indexes. I mean, the answer to NoSQL was always, well, just don't index it. Just because you can index a column doesn't mean that you must index a column. You can simply have columns that you don't index. NoSQL! Oh, wow! Anyway. But yeah, and then there was the whole, the message queue stuff was like that with the RabbitMQ and the, what's the Apache one called? So message queues have their place. But yeah, I haven't really kept track of them because it was just a fad. I mean, just use JSON unless you've got a real good reason not to use JSON, and there are reasons that exist, but you probably don't have that reason. Just use JSON and use an event table or something. Don't try to use like specific binary formats and have some sort of special protocol. Just HTTP, JSON, and yes, message queues are great. Append-only logs are awesome. But and sometimes pub sub tools are really, really good. Sometimes they really, really are. And in this case, this might be a case where it actually makes sense, although I don't know that these actually make a difference. Anyway, so we're going to switch all of these over to IP address, to be by the private network IP address rather than localhost. But we're going to leave the localhost binding to, I can't remember why, maybe it was for -RPC, but we're going to leave the localhost binding. We're going to go through and we're going to change all the IP addresses in the other thing. And then we've got all of our butts covered. All right. Host, port. Let's see, 127. Is there anything else here on 127? 127 dot. Nope. All right. Cool. So let's do this. We're going to restart -testnet_d. Then we're going to restart the -drive d. Then we're going to restart the other ones in the other place. And the reason I want to do this is because we're not going to be able to. Sorry, I didn't explain why we're going to do this. The reason we're going to do this is because we're not going to actually be able to test Envoy to be able to see if the gRPC is working. I can get it set up, but I won't actually know if the gRPC is working unless we have our testnet node working. And I still don't know if that's going to work without the regtx stuff. I think it should, because I could be wrong, but I think that the ProRegTX is to tell other services, hey, I'm acting as an Evo node. And then there's a list of Evo nodes, right? And the lesser Evo nodes. So the full Evo nodes and the lesser Evo nodes. So there's a list of them, and that list gets checked, and it can get POSI banned. So I think that with this, I think that if the services are running, it doesn't necessarily, I don't think it needs to do the verification that the service should be running. Because if you get an IP address, but you didn't get it from the list, and you connect via gRPC, even though you didn't get it from the list of well-established Evo nodes, then the system should be able to respond. It shouldn't say, well, I didn't register myself as an Evo node. I'm not going to allow you to connect, even though I'm running all of the services. I think it'll just allow the connection. The ProRegTX is more for the benefit of the other mobobs. Okay, so now let's see if this is working, because I really don't want to have to set up yet another one of these, but I might. Okay, outbound peer connected. Awesome. Sweet. That's exactly what we hope to see. I -drive, RPC core info. I think this means it's all good. I don't see it. There's no retry messages. So sweet. All right. So now we go back here to Evo 3 and we tell DAPI, yeah, do everything over the private network. I don't know what a P2P host is. I'm not sure what that is, so I'm going to leave that one alone. P2P host. What the heck is a P2P host? It is the do these line up? The RPC port? Maybe this is the P2P. I think it is the P2P host. Hold on. Oh man, there's so much of this stuff. There's so much of this stuff. All right, so I think we actually do need to change P2P host as well. All right, test next. So let's look for 127 dot. No more 127 dots in there. All right. So what else? Let's look again at the list. So we got DAPI, we've got dash drive, and then dash drive is under, what was the place where that is? Config dash drive env. Okay, let's see. Config dash drive env. Okay, so same thing, 127. Oops. And we're going to try to get those. Yeah, I know that the P2P means peer-to-peer. The question is, what does it mean in this context? And I think it's just because there's for example, there's bind and there's RPC bind and there's ZMQ bind. And so it's not called P2P bind. And that's where I was confused, because in none of the other configurations is it ever called dash P2P. There's dash RPC, and dash ZMQ. But so that's where I was confused. Okay. All right, and this is saying anything can bind on this address, which is great. I kind of want to limit it, but whatever, we'll go with this for now. And then, yeah, I'm probably going to have to either do a SOCKS proxy to one of these instances to be able to open it in my browser, or just do some port forwarding that I need to set up manually. Oh, but the whole idea of standard ports, port 22, etc., it's just a bad idea. And it really does come from the TCP IP stack. It does not come from the web stack. There is a DNS record called SRV, or service record. And the idea with the service record was you shouldn't have a standard port. Also, we could make use of SRV records as the good gods of the internet intended. But I realize that in practice, many domain hosts either don't expose SRV capability or do so in a way that may be too unfamiliar. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating that when something is hidden, people, I don't know, when something is so incredibly centralized that you don't even ask who the central party is, like the IP system, it's so incredibly centralized that people, they often, especially in the whole blockchain space, they don't even stop to think, why do I trust this one authority? Why would I not want something that is federated and decentralized? but it's like the water that you swim in. It's the air that you breathe. It's so implicit that you don't think about, oh yeah, I pay Comcast for my IP address, or I pay for the IP address that's owned by Amazon or owned by DigitalOcean. Okay, again, this seems just really, really weird because that's not the same as the example port number that's given elsewhere. But I guess these are kind of... But you could have an SRV record. So the SRV record is the domain paired with the service. So you could have an SRV record for HTTP, for HTTPS, for ZMQ, for -RPC, for -ZMQ, -RPC, you name it. You could split it up a bunch of different ways. I would actually recommend using a subdomain to represent a service entity, and then use the service name as the protocol name. So ZMQ being a protocol, and then you would do dash dot whatever dot whatever would be your dash.example.com would be where your dash ZMQ service is, so on and so forth. IPv6 for the win! Argon, I don't know if you know this, but for all things there is the S-curve. And the S-curve is there's always a slow start, and then there's a period of acceleration, and then there's a tail end, right? So if we look at Chrome browser adoption, a new version of Chrome comes out, there's going to be a slow start, then within 6 months, almost everybody will have adopted that version of Chrome or later, or Chromium via Brave, whatever, your browser, right? And then there's going to be 2 years, and then there's going to be the slow decline, right? So after 2 years, 99% of people have updated to that version or later, right? But because most people, if nothing else, have restarted their computer during that time, and it's forced them to get the new version, right? But the S-curve should, the S-curve, it starts at 0, and it should get to the high 99s. That's what's desirable. If you look at the S-curve for IPv6 has an incredibly slow start of something in the realm of 20 to 30 years, right? And then in the 2010s, it's got this spike of adoption that gets all the way up to 50% or so. And then the tail end of the S-curve starts, right? So unless we're going to get a second S-curve, IPv6 will never get adopted. It has reached its limit at 50%, and that will not ever change. And the reason I think this is especially true is because, well, one, if you try using IPv6, you'll find that a bunch of websites don't work, you get weird errors, you just weird stuff happens. It's not a good experience. And so you're likely, if you turn IPv6 on from your Comcast or whatever, you're likely to turn it right back off. And the other thing is that people have found alternative solutions, such as multiplexing IPv4. And those solutions have turned out to be simpler to implement and more reliable. So as long as a better solution exists that services people well enough, that's going to continue. And also, with the domain name system, you don't need to have exclusive ownership over an IP, because with both TLS and TLS related protocols, and with routable protocols like HTTP, so HTTP actually has routing at 2 layers, which does cause a potential security concern in some cases, but while you have that, Bum, 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 bum. What was I thinking? Oh, yeah. So as long as you have that, you also don't need to have more IP addresses. So for private networking, which is where the routing needs to happen, you need private IP addresses. But for public access, domain names are sufficient. The standard retort that I hear regarding why IPs alone are good enough is that you can just change them and re-register, but there's no automated process for that. So, but also, as you can see, we can't do certs, we can't use it in the browser, yada yada yada. So let's say you are a believer in IP addresses. You're just a believer in IP addresses. You hate decentralized naming. You want it to die. You just want a centralized single authority of IPs, and you want to subscribe to it, and that's your fiefdom, and that's the hill you die on. Great, do it. More power to you. Live long and prosper. It's the forcing it on other people in code. That's where I have a problem with it. If you want to do it, if you want to make your life complicated, if you want to make your services easier to censor, if you want to be more constrained to a particular authority and encumber yourself that way, live long and prosper. But don't force other people to follow in your mistakes. So I'll have to have good reason other than censorship resistance for moving additionally supporting DNS. It's less work. It's less work to support DNS. Like, that is the default thing. When you call the network connect function, it takes an IP or domain name string, right? So it's simply less work to let the computer do what it already does, to let the operating system resolver resolve for you. It's just like you remove part of what you have to do because it is a web primitive. It's not like, oh man, how are we going to figure this out? Oh my gosh. Oh, like literally you just let it happen. You remove the extra work that you were doing to block it. So, and again, it's simply just not blocking it. Oh, I never started the music, did I? I don't want to start the music anymore. I'm past starting the music now. So yeah, the argument against it is it's just pure ignorance. Because I mean, that's literally what it is. It's just ignorance because it's a misunderstanding. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of how the internet works and a fundamental misunderstanding of the code. Now, granted, there are some languages or frameworks or whatever in which it could be more work. But generally speaking, and by more work, I mean 3 extra lines of code or something, right? Like what I was suggesting, if you wanted to have manual control over the DNS resolution, it is more work. However, many DNS resolvers, they just do this stuff for you. If it's an IP address, it resolves. If it's a domain name, it resolves. If it resolves to multiple IP addresses and one of the IP addresses can't be connected to, you just get the one that it can connect to. So it's such a simpler system in every way. And I don't know what you mean by, change and re-register IP address, because that's just not something, it's not something you can actually do. Well, I mean, okay, so you go to a different service, you set up everything, whatever. Sure. I mean, I guess that argument might be the same in both cases, except in one you have to re-register and the other you don't. But yeah, it's just one of those, it's like the opposite of diminishing returns. It's like you get all this benefit and you have to do less work. Why wouldn't you do it? All right, so this one is Tender Dash. Oh, okay, that's where that one went. Tender Dash, config, crap, 127. All right, so that one can listen there. That's fine, maybe. I don't know what all this stuff actually does. RPC server to listen on. Okay, so this is a different thing. Maybe? I'm actually kind of confused as to what this is. But yeah, I guess, and I know that this logically, this is not normally what we want to do. We don't want to push the onus back on the other person because what is that called? I forget the name of the logical fallacy that typically is. But in this case, you would actually have to say, what's the reason for doing the extra work to block it? That's the question you have to ask. Why take the extra work to block web addresses? Because it's not why should we you know, change this. It's why would you block it in the first place? What? That doesn't make sense. That's the thing you got to ask. And in this case, it really is that inverse because it's such a weird thing. Okay, I am confused. I don't know what Tender Dash is or what it's doing. Oh, localhost. There we go. Which, by the way, weird situations come up in which you need to use the IP address instead of using localhost. Very strange, but it happens. Okay, so this is already set up for testnet. And then I got to put the password and stuff in there, right? Yeah. That's what I thought. All right, so this would be app test. And then there's my password. So hopefully when I restart these services, they're all going to connect and everybody's going to be happy. Sudo journal control and then -d testnet. Fingers crossed. Potential stale tip detected. Block is marked invalid. So that doesn't seem good, but I don't understand what's going on. Is testnet down right now? Is testnet producing invalid blocks, or is testnet running on a different thing? And this is really weird. Client key generated while creating certificates for secure connection. What is this all about? I mean, I think that this sort of thing should be allowed. If it's necessary, there should be a tool to generate these things. Path to the client certificate generated while creating needed files. First, if remote validator address is provided but no certificate, I don't know what this means. Somebody would have to explain this one to me. Okay. But the good news is we've got that. Okay, so this one is still accepting new blocks. And this one is rejecting new blocks. What am I to make of this? Maybe I could just restart it. Nope, that's not the one I wanted to do, but that's fine. That works too. Bump, bump, bump. Okay, mic's still working. I'm getting paranoid now about the whole mic situation. Oh, I'm looking forward to putting together the 20-gallon tank this weekend. I don't know where to put it, though. I think I might put it... I don't know. I don't know where to put it. Okay. All right, so here we're going to restart dash drive. We're going to restart Tendermint. Tendermint. I don't know how to spell Tendermint, apparently. Tender dash. And Dappy Appy. All right, Dappy Appy. Failed to start Dappy Appy. Oh no, not again. Okay, we'll have to figure out why Dappy Appy is failing. All right, dash drive I think is working. And then I may just switch everything over to this one's IP address because this one is working. So that'd be 102 instead of 109. Oh. That's weird, isn't it? Memory usage. Well, let's have that updated on the next go around. Okay, Zifu. All right, dash drive worked, and then tender dash. Okay. That's weird. 26658. What is that? Oh, that's dash drive. Okay, so what? Okay, right. Okay. So dash drive is failed. We're in dash drive right now. And we need to go into the package drive ABCI, whatever that means. Okay, dash drive. let's see if we can just figure out what's going on here. Address already in use. Okay. Looks fine to me. So maybe there was just two fighting each other? Waiting for core RPC to start. One 9998. So core RPC is started. Let's do a restart on this. All right. So nothing. I expect that when I hit enter, I'm going to see output over here. New connection? No, I don't see that. And I see that it's waiting for RPC to start. All right, let's see if we can figure out what's going on. Why is this service not connected? RPC bind. And let's just look at the numbers here. Handles post requests. Great. So why would it be waiting for RPC to start? I have a thought. And that thought is that we should switch everything over to using this server that is working, because the other one says that it's rejecting blocks. So something is wrong with this one. See, error except block is marked invalid. So what we do instead is we just swappy doodle everything over to using the other one. IPA. So under test, we can leave that one bind. We can add another bind. And then we can change all of this stuff. And actually, this should be a /24. My bad. We'll leave that. So everything switches from, I think it's 109 to 102, if I'm not mistaken. And then we change the password for everything. All right. So we change it for Tinder Dash, but in order to change it, we're going to change it to Dappy. Okay. And then I think there was one more that needed to change. We changed Dash Drive. So check. Did we change Dappy? I think we did change Tinder Dash. Check. Okay. So the one we didn't change yet is Dappy. Where did Dappy go? Oops. Ah, packages Dappy ENV. Got it. Oh, and I think that's wrong. That might be the reason that that wasn't working. Let's make sure. Conf. Okay, test. RPC 19998. P2P 19999. ZMQ 18009. You definitely need to know what Tinder Dash is. It's the consensus mechanism for the EvoNode blockchain. Yes, EvoNodes process the entirely separate blockchain using proof of stake. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll see it when I believe it. Dang it. I messed up messing it up. All right, so this doesn't look right to me. This smells wrong. All right, RPC, because these are in the wrong order. RPC is 1, 9s, and 8. ZMQ, okay, that one was wrong. Is this. And P2P is that one. That, I think, works. Okay. Okay, let's do restart Dappy API. I'm going to restart dash drive. Tender dash. All right, it failed. But why did it fail? So if that one's not working, I don't think the other ones will work. Okay, so this doesn't make sense to me because this one is saying that it's waiting for the RPC service to start. However, if I curl it, oh, I probably need to restart this. Excellent. Okay. I guess I could get rid of the music since I'm not actually. Please don't start the music. Music. Okay. Show me the money. Oh no. Tinder Dash requires ABCI version 0.25. Our version is 0.24. How is that possible? How is that possible? Let's see what we've got. Bump version to 0.25.22. Okay. So this says, what am I to understand of this? Because this seems to say that this version is correct. Let me look at that log message again, because it can be confusing to look at it and not know which one is trying to do. Also, I want to see why Dappy keeps failing to start. Dang it. Yarn start? Yarn API? Wait, there was a stream and a core stream. Right? Wasn't that the thing? My brain is too small for all this stuff. Okay, it can't connect to TenderDash, so we can't move forward with this. Okay, let's go back. So dash drive, target, release, drive, ABCI dash V. This one says it's the right version. 02522. What was it telling us? 0240 ABCI version. So which direction is this? Sending ABCI exception. Response. TenderDash requires ABCI version 0.25. Our version is 0.24. Okay. It seems that, well, that doesn't match up with this either. So TenderDash needs to start first, I think. And TenderDash failed to start. Okay, so let's go back a little ways. Okay. All right, let's stop dash drive. Let's stop Dappy Appy. Let's stop TenderDash. And let's just try to run. Okay. And it's griping because it's trying to connect to 26658. And what? Oh, is this a circular dependency? What is going on here? It's saying that it needs to connect to dash drive. Dash drive needs to connect to TenderDash. Dappy needs to connect to TenderDash. So the first thing that we need to start then is dash drive. Okay, let's just see if we can figure out, does dash drive start? I don't, methinks not, because I thought that it required TenderDash. Okay, no, it's working. All right, so And it is listening on 26658 anywhere. And 229, 29090. Okay, there we go. Um, all right, so where's my notes at? Start. How to start. First one is going to be dash drive. 2 is going to be tender dash. 3 is going to be dappy appy. 4 is going to be dappy core streams. Let's just call it maybe dappy streams. All right, so let's make sure that we've got them all started in that order. Well, actually, first, 0 is going to be dash core dash D. All right, so it seems like it started. And it's waiting. That's what I'm getting from this. Okay, package lock. Bump ABCI version. Okay. I'm confused about this. What could be happening? Let's see, 0.25. ABCI Semver. I'm just having a hard time making sense of this because both things seem to be reporting the correct version. Oops. This has 0.25 listed in its version. And then dash drive, or what was it called? Drive ABCI. Let's just try debug. Is debug reporting the same thing? Okay. These are reporting the right version. Okay, so maybe there's something else going on. Maybe I am using an IP address for this somewhere, and maybe its version is the older version. Let's just check and see what version it thinks it has. Nope. Okay. I have no earthly idea where this version 0.24 is coming from because both in Tenderdash and let's see, is there another uh uh, yeah. Uh Let's see. Okay, so this one was... Oh, you know what? I may need to rebuild this. Maybe I should do that just for funsies. Let's just look at this, though. Let's see if we can find the code. This I should have done this earlier. Duh. Our version is... I'm going to change this error message. Oh, no, that's not good. Why in the world would it have... Yeah, I mean, I guess it's doing vendoring, which that can be good. The vendoring can be good. Yeah, okay. Source handler. Press drive, ABCI. Hmm. Do that skid commit -m. Ah, crapola. Dash drive platform. Get status. Get switch. Oops. Oh, interesting. The snail climbed on top of the air tube. I've noticed the change of the sound over in the tank. I'm thinking, what? Why did the sound change? And the snail decided that it's just going to perch on top of the air tube. So now it's bubbly more. Uh-oh. Why is that taking so long? All right, what was my commit message over here? All right, let's see. Boom. Boom. Oh, whoops. Rebase v 1.0 dev. Flippy dippy, what? Okay. Since this error shows up in the Tinder dash logs, the use of our is confusing. This clarifies which program is showing. Yeah, I'm just gonna. There we go. All right. I've just been using the default branches. All right, so we got that one. Where does that leave us? That leaves us that we know something. Let's make sure. All right, let's build release. And we should probably build debug as well. And we should probably also check the variable that this message applies to, which is ABCI version. What? This is confusing. Why do they call it ABCI again? right. Why is this taking so long? Yeah, I don't even know if this message is correct, actually. It's funny that it fails checks. Available types. Okay. Beat, fix, doc, style. What the? I don't know. Oh, hold on. No. Oh. Nano. Nano is for ninnies. Worse than ninnies. It's for. I don't know what it's for. There we go. And I actually don't know if this is correct. I, okay. Is is are these versions actually related to the? I think the error message could be totally mismatched. I mean, it could be completely backwards. It says the request though, so it should be the remote. Okay, why is this failing? Hold on, let me go see this one failing. No, where'd it go? Come back to me, come back to me. All right. Oh, hold on. Is it this one? I don't know. I don't know what to tell it. I I Oh, the title of this factor? Okay. All right, so this could be. Oops. Um Hmm. That's where this comes from. RS tender dash ABCI. No. Okay, I think I see what's going on here. Um, all right, so there's a dependency. Um, it says use Proto 25.2. Hmm. All right, I'm lost. I'm lost. Let me review my notes. Where was I at here? This one probably just needs to move out of the way. This does not belong here. Put it over there. Dang it. Okay, I think I'm blocked because I think that at this point we're dealing with interdependencies of things that I am not adequately prepared to chase down and yeah. Mm, uh, okay. I might need to. Okay, I need to go back to my notes and I need to see about rebuilding with Proto C. Uh, what do I do here? I'm actually going to change this up again. And I think okay, so I need to get back to that Proto C thing because I think the Proto C thing is where things are currently uh, the streams are crossed. So if I can rebuild the Proto C, do I have? Let's see if Proto C is on here. Nope. Let's go back to Drive. Hmm. Okay. I think Proto C was built with the wrong. What was that thing called again? gRPC? All right, so I need to find the documentation I had that referenced Proto C. I think that was here. I think that's in this. Boom, boom. Okay, rewrite the README. Files changed. Proto C. WASM bind gen. Yeah. Oh. All right, where'd this one go? Oh, whatever. Okay, issuer interface. Hmm. Does this have SAN? Yeah, it's got subject and SAN. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so it was not completed. Oh. All right, GPT, you got this. Okay. Write a function that a Go function that matches this interface following the interface. With the cert name and DNS names. Let's see. Was issued certificate from? Oh no. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's see how it does. Here's what GPT gave me. All right, let's make sure that it actually looks right. We have a shell script issuer. Oh, whoops. No, I want to go back. Let's see. Request.name. What was it here for this? Issued certificate. Certificate request. It's going to have subject. Okay. Subject. DNS. Is it called DNS names? Yes, DNS names. Convert bytes to base 64. Let's see. Go pem encode to string. Let's see, path to write cert. Example.com. example.com. Maybe All right. Issued certificate. Certificate bytes. See, alternatively, we could require that standard in be strictly the cert and standard error be strictly JSON metadata. Oh, what's up? Hey, thanks for the follow there. Let me throw away GPT now. You know, it's funny. I don't know if GPT writes comments like this because people write comments like this, or what. But it's I came across some code. I think, was it in this code base? Yeah, it was a shell script. Yeah, it was the shell script from the other day. So I came across the code in the code base, and every single line was like just saying what was, obvious. Pem dot encode encodes the pem. Actually, that'd be encoding the dir, technically speaking, because the pem would be the encoded format. But yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave that one alone. And so, yeah, I'm going to close this out again. I'm going to leave that up. Unfortunately, I think I am just going to say I've hit a wall, and I need an assist to go further. Because I can't go further without being able to test the stuff. So I think I'm going to rename the name of the string, and then because this was connecting it all together, but the ZeroSSL thing didn't work out. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take a break. It's good. It's good pause point for me to take a break, and I don't know if I'm going to be back on this later or if I'm just going to be working on another project, but I got another project to work on as well. So thanks for tuning in. Catch you later. Adios.